The abandoned asylum loomed before me, its crumbling facade a haunting reminder of a bygone era. Rumors of dark rituals and malevolent spirits had shrouded the building in a veil of fear for years. But I couldn't resist the pull of curiosity. The need to unlock the secrets that lay within its decaying walls. As I stepped inside, a chill washed over me, and the air seemed to crackle with an ominous energy. I ventured deeper into the asylum's depths, drawn to a room tucked away in the darkest corner. The walls were adorned with faded symbols and cryptic writings, a chilling testament to the unspeakable horrors that had transpired here. In the center of the room lay an old Ouija board, its wooden surface aged with time. My heart raced with both excitement and trepidation. Ignoring the warnings echoing in my mind, I couldn't resist the temptation to communicate with whatever entities might linger in this forsaken place. With trembling hands, I placed my fingers on the planchette, and we began the séance. At first, the planchette moved with a sluggish reluctance, spelling out random letters. But then, a sinister force seemed to take hold, and the planchette moved with purpose, as if guided by an unseen hand. My breath caught in my throat as the entity revealed itself, a malevolent spirit that claimed to have been trapped within the asylum's walls for centuries. It spoke of a horrific past, of souls tormented and lives shattered, its words dripping with malice and vengeance. As the séance continued, I felt an overwhelming darkness closing in around me. The room grew colder, and shadows danced along the walls, whispering haunting secrets. The demonic presence seemed to reach into the depths of my soul, and a primal fear gripped me, paralyzing my body. I could feel the malevolence invading my thoughts, the demon's influence seeping into my very being. I tried to break free from its grasp, but it was too late. I was a mere vessel now, a conduit for the demonic force that had taken hold of me. In the days that followed, I became a pawn in a sinister game of torment and terror. The asylum's walls reverberated with ghostly cries, and the tortured souls of the past seemed to reach out to me in desperation. Haunted by nightmares and consumed by dread, I struggled to maintain my sanity. But the demon's hold on me was relentless, its insidious presence growing stronger with each passing moment. In a desperate attempt to break free, I sought the help of a renowned exorcist. But even the seasoned priest seemed wary of the malevolent force that had invaded me. The exorcism was a fierce battle between good and evil, as the demon fought tooth and nail to maintain its grasp on my soul. The exorcist chanted ancient incantations, and the air crackled with energy as the battle raged on. But in the end, the darkness prevailed. The demon's laughter echoed through the asylum as I was cast aside, my consciousness fading into the abyss. As I write these words from the confines of my own mind, I am but a spectator to the horrors that unfold through my actions. The demonic possession has transformed me into a puppet, a vessel for the malevolent entity that now walks the earth in my stead. My body is no longer my own, and I can only watch in horror as the demon unleashes chaos and despair upon the world. My soul is trapped, a prisoner within my own body, forced to bear witness to the atrocities committed by the malevolent force that now wears my face. I am but a vessel, a hollow shell, as the demonic presence relishes its newfound freedom. The asylum is no longer abandoned. It teems with the malevolence that once lay dormant within its walls. My only solace is the hope that someday, someone will find a way to banish the demon from this forsaken place. Until then, I am a prisoner of my own body, a witness to the darkness that has been unleashed upon the world. As I lay in bed one night, I felt an ominous presence seeping into my very being. A darkness unlike any I had experienced before engulfed my soul. I was no longer in control of my body, a malevolent force had taken over. My limbs moved against my will, and an eerie voice escaped my lips. Speaking words I could not understand. The room grew cold, and sinister laughter filled the air. I was trapped, a mere spectator in my own torment. The demon reveled in its newfound vessel, leaving me helpless as it unleashed chaos upon the world through my trembling hands. As I woke up that fateful morning, a strange and unsettling feeling washed over me. It was as if an otherworldly presence had invaded my very soul, leaving me with an unshakable sense of dread. Throughout the day, I felt a constant, malevolent gaze upon me. And I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched by something far beyond the realm of the living. As the hours passed, my unease only grew, and I found myself noticing unusual occurrences around me. Objects would shift inexplicably, and the air seemed to crackle with a dark energy. Despite my attempts to dismiss these events as mere coincidences, I couldn't escape the nagging feeling that something sinister was at play. Night fell, and with it came an eerie silence that seemed to engulf the world. Alone in my dimly lit room, I began to hear faint whispers in the darkness. Words I couldn't understand, but their chilling tone sent shivers down my spine. It was as if a malevolent force was trying to communicate with me from beyond the veil. Unable to sleep, I decided to confront this mysterious presence head-on. With trembling hands, I lit a few candles and attempted to communicate with whatever had invaded my life. "Who are you?" I whispered into the shadows, hoping for some kind of response. To my surprise, the room grew colder, and a deep voice resonated through the air. "I am the ancient darkness, the shadow that haunts your dreams," it said. "I have wandered the depths of eternity, seeking a vessel for my malevolence. You, mortal, have been chosen." Fear gripped my heart, but curiosity pushed me to continue the conversation. "Chosen for what?" I asked, trying to maintain a facade of bravery. "To bear witness to the crumbling of worlds, to serve as a conduit for the chaos that consumes all," the voice replied, its tone both mesmerizing and terrifying. As the days went by, I found myself unable to escape the demonic presence. It manifested in subtle ways, planting nightmarish visions in my mind during the day and haunting my dreams at night. Each time I closed my eyes, I was transported to nightmarish realms, forced to witness the horrors that lurked within. I struggled to maintain my sanity as the line between reality and nightmare blurred. The demonic presence seemed to feed on my fear and despair, growing stronger with each passing moment. The more I resisted, the more it seemed to tighten its grip on my soul. I sought help from priests, shamans, and experts in the occult, but none could offer me solace. The demonic entity reveled in their futile attempts to banish it, using their failures to torment me further. Despite the darkness that enveloped me, I refused to succumb without a fight. I delved into ancient tomes and scriptures, seeking forbidden knowledge that might grant me an edge against the malevolent force that plagued my existence. In my desperate quest for answers, I discovered a ritual said to banish even the most powerful demons. Armed with newfound hope, I gathered the necessary materials and performed the intricate ceremony with trepidation. At first, it seemed as though my efforts were in vain, but then, a fierce wind howled through the room, extinguishing all the candles but one. The demonic presence's chilling laughter echoed around me, mocking my futile attempts to banish it. Defiant, I pressed on, reciting incantations and performing the ritual with unwavering determination. The remaining candle's flame flickered and danced as if fighting against an unseen force, and with a final burst of energy, the room was plunged into darkness. For a moment, there was silence. Then, an agonizing scream reverberated through the air, the sound of a malevolent force being torn from its hold on reality. As the darkness lifted, I felt an immense weight lifted from my soul, and I collapsed to the floor. Exhausted but triumphant. The demonic presence was banished, but its mark would forever be etched in my memory. I had stared into the abyss and emerged with my sanity intact, forever changed by the experience. Though I had escaped the clutches of the demonic force, I knew that the scars it left behind would serve as a constant reminder of the darkness that lurked in the depths of the universe. My encounter with the demonic presence had opened my eyes to the existence of a world far beyond what most could comprehend. It taught me that there are forces at play beyond our understanding, and that some things are better left untouched, for delving too deep into the abyss may bring forth horrors beyond imagination. From that day on, I vowed to never forget the lessons I learned in my encounter with the demonic presence. I would remain vigilant, knowing that even in the brightest of days, the shadows of malevolence may still lurk, waiting for an opportunity to seize upon unsuspecting souls like mine. I prided myself on being a rational thinker, dismissing tales of demons as mere superstitions. That was until I stumbled upon an ancient artifact in an old bookstore, a forbidden grimoire said to contain the secrets of the dark arts. Curiosity overpowered my skepticism, and I delved into its pages, reciting incantations I thought were mere gibberish. As the candles flickered, an oppressive aura filled the room, and a cold wind whispered through the air. Suddenly, the book levitated, and an eerie voice spoke my name. Fear paralyzed me as the demonic presence materialized before me. My skepticism crumbled, and I realized I had invited true malevolence into my world. The demons were no longer a myth, they were my chilling reality. It started innocently enough, a gathering of friends around a dusty old Ouija board, curious about the mysterious and the supernatural. We were skeptical, thinking it was just a harmless game, but little did we know the malevolent forces we were about to unleash. As our fingers lightly touched the planchette, it began to move with a life of its own, spelling out cryptic messages that sent shivers down our spines. At first, we laughed it off, attributing the movement to one of our friends trying to pull a prank. But as the questions became more serious, the planchette's movements grew more forceful and deliberate. "Who are you?" one of my friends asked with a hint of trepidation. The planchette spelled out a name that none of us recognized, Zazl. A feeling of unease settled over us, but curiosity got the better of us, and we continued the session. With each passing question, the responses became darker and more malevolent. It claimed to be a demon, trapped in the board for centuries, thirsting for freedom and retribution. In our ignorance, we asked if it could prove its power. The room grew colder, and the candles flickered as if a sinister presence had enveloped us. A feeling of dread washed over me, but before we could stop it, the planchette slid towards yes. Fearful yet intrigued, we asked how it could be released. It spelled out a series of instructions that seemed absurd. Yet we followed them meticulously. The atmosphere grew heavy, and the air seemed charged with an unnatural energy. Before our very eyes, the planchette shattered into pieces, and a dark mist seeped from the board, coalescing into a shadowy figure. Panic consumed us, but it was too late to turn back. The figure spoke in a chilling, otherworldly voice, promising us unimaginable power and wealth if we served it willingly. but a sinister undertone warned us of the terrible price we'd have to pay. Some of my friends were enticed by the temptations, drawn into the web of deceit woven by this demonic entity. But I knew deep down that striking a deal with such malevolence would only lead to tragedy. Summoning all the courage I could muster, I demanded that the demon leave us be and return to its prison within the Ouija board. Its response was a guttural laugh that sent shivers down my spine. "You've set me free, and now I shall claim what is rightfully mine," it hissed. With that, the room erupted into chaos. Objects levitated, the temperature plummeted, and an overpowering force slammed me against the wall. I felt the demon's influence creeping into my mind, attempting to take control of me as it had with my friends. But I resisted with every ounce of strength I had left, reciting prayers and mantras, invoking whatever protection I could find. The struggle felt like an eternity, but in the end, the demon was banished back to the board, sealing it shut once more. Though we survived that night, we were forever changed. The demonic presence had left its mark on us, haunting our dreams and tormenting our thoughts. We vowed never to touch the Ouija board again. Forever wary of the malevolent entities that could be lurking in the shadows, waiting for an invitation to wreak havoc upon the world. I lay in bed, exhausted but unable to sleep. Suddenly, a heavy weight pressed down on my chest, and I couldn't move. Panic set in as I realized I was experiencing sleep paralysis once more. My eyes darted around the room, and that's when I saw it, a dark figure standing in the corner, watching me. I tried to scream, but no sound escaped my lips. The figure moved closer, its malevolence palpable. I felt a surge of terror as it reached out, its icy touch grazing my skin. As the sleep paralysis released its hold, the figure vanished, leaving me shaken and questioning my sanity. But deep down, I knew the manifestation of my fear was all too real. As a lifelong skeptic of the supernatural, I scoffed at tales of demons and malevolent entities. So, when a friend invited me to a séance, I reluctantly joined, intending to debunk the whole affair. As the Ouija board came into play, I watched with raised eyebrows, attributing the movement to my friend's subconscious desires. But when the planchette spelled out my name without any input from us, doubt crept in. The atmosphere shifted, and an unsettling chill filled the room. My skepticism wavered as I witnessed the planchette moving on its own, answering questions only I knew the answers to. My disbelief shattered, and a newfound fear of the unknown took root. The demons were real, and they knew my name. In the darkness of the abandoned mansion, I found myself drawn to an ancient book hidden amidst the dust and cobwebs. Its leather cover was adorned with strange symbols that seemed to pulsate with an unnatural energy. Ignoring the voice of reason that urged me to leave it be, I opened the book. And as I did, a chill ran down my spine. With trembling hands, I began to read the forbidden words within its pages. Unbeknownst to me, I had just unleashed a demonic force that had been imprisoned within the book for centuries. The room seemed to come alive with malevolence as the air crackled with dark energy. A figure materialized before me, shrouded in shadows and eyes ablaze with an unholy fire. My heart raced as I realized the gravity of my mistake, but it was too late to turn back now. The demon spoke. Its voice a haunting melody that sent shivers down my spine. Finally, after all these years, I am free, it hissed with delight. And you, mortal, shall be the vessel through which I will exact my vengeance upon the world. Fear and regret filled my soul. But I was powerless to resist the malevolent force that had taken hold of me. The demon's essence seeped into my very being, and I felt its malevolence coursing through my veins. I was no longer in control of my own body and mind. Under the demon's influence, I carried out unspeakable acts, wreaking havoc upon the unsuspecting world. Each day, I spiraled deeper into darkness, tormented by the atrocities I committed while under its thrall. The demon reveled in my suffering, feeding off my fear and guilt. Haunted by my own actions, I sought a way to break free from the demon's grasp. Desperate, I sought out ancient texts and wise sages, hoping to find a way to banish the malevolent entity. But time and again, my attempts were futile, and the demon's grip only tightened. In my darkest hour, I discovered a glimmer of hope, a ritual said to be a last resort to rid oneself of a demon. With a heavy heart, I prepared for the daunting task ahead, unsure if I could truly withstand the demonic force that had consumed me. As the moon reached its zenith, I performed the ritual, calling upon powers beyond comprehension to aid me. The air crackled with energy, and a fierce battle ensued between the darkness within me and the forces of light. I could feel the demon resisting, fighting tooth and nail to maintain its hold, but I refused to surrender. With every ounce of strength left in me, I pushed back against the malevolent entity, reciting incantations with a fervor I had never known. In a burst of blinding light, the demon was cast out, its anguished screams echoing in the night. I collapsed to the ground, exhausted but triumphant. As the darkness finally receded, I was free, but the experience left me forever changed. The demonic presence had shown me the true depths of darkness that lie within us all. I knew that I must forever remain vigilant, for evil can take root in even the purest of hearts. I woke up, unable to move or speak. Sleep paralysis had me in its grip once again. Panic surged as I felt a malevolent presence in the room. My heart pounded as I saw a shadowy figure materialize at the foot of my bed, its eyes glowing with malice. Fear consumed me. But I couldn't escape or call for help. The manifestation of my worst nightmares haunted my paralyzed state. As the sleep paralysis released its hold, the figure vanished, leaving me shaken and questioning the line between reality and the realm of dreams. The fear of that night still lingers. A chilling reminder of the mind's terrifying power. The full moon cast an eerie glow over the desolate graveyard as I cautiously stepped among the weathered tombstones. A chill ran down my spine as the wind whispered hauntingly through the ancient trees. An inexplicable force seemed to draw me deeper into the heart of the cemetery, as if beckoning me toward something sinister. I stumbled upon a forgotten crypt, its stone door ajar. Against my better judgment, I entered, my heart pounding in my chest. The air inside was thick with an otherworldly presence, and I could sense the weight of centuries-old malevolence lurking within. As I explored the crypt's dark interior, I came across a peculiar ornate box, adorned with eerie symbols. Curiosity got the better of me, and I dared to open it. Instantly, the ground beneath me trembled, and an ominous mist enveloped the room. Unseen hands seemed to claw at my very soul as a demonic entity emerged from the box. Its eyes glowed with malice as it spoke in an ancient, long-forgotten tongue. Fear consumed me as I realized I had unwittingly unleashed a malevolent spirit upon the world. The creature possessed me, its sinister influence spreading like wildfire through my thoughts and actions. I became a mere puppet, a vessel for the demon's insidious intentions. At night, I found myself wandering the graveyard, compelled to carry out unspeakable acts under the demon's control. The once peaceful resting place of the dead had become a stage for the macabre dance of darkness. Haunted by the horror of my actions, I sought a way to break free from the demon's grasp. Desperate, I turned to a reclusive priest known for his knowledge of exorcisms. He performed a harrowing ritual in the heart of the graveyard, battling the malevolent entity that had taken residence within me. The clash between good and evil was a cacophony of screams and otherworldly sounds, shaking the very foundation of the graveyard. The priest's determination prevailed, and the demon was banished back to the confines of the crypt. As the dawn broke, I found myself free from the demonic possession, but the memories of that nightmarish encounter would forever haunt my dreams. The graveyard held secrets I could never forget, reminding me of the darkness that lurks in the shadows, waiting for the opportunity to seize an unsuspecting soul. From my earliest memories, a persistent demonic presence lurked in the shadows of my childhood. Unseen eyes watched me from the darkest corners, and eerie whispers echoed through the halls at night. My parents dismissed my fears as childish imagination, but I knew it was real. As I grew older, the malevolent force intensified. Night after night, I endured sleepless nights, terrorized by night terrors and sleep paralysis. The figure haunted my dreams, a sinister silhouette that refused to fade. My pleas for help went unheard, and the demonic presence seemed to feed off my fear. Desperate to find relief, I sought solace in religion, hoping prayers and rituals would banish the darkness. Yet, the malevolence persisted, as if mocking my attempts to escape its grasp. As an adult, I still feel the presence. A haunting reminder of my childhood fears. It has become a part of me, an ever-present specter that refuses to leave. Its whispers and whispers torment my waking hours, and I long for a moment of peace. I've sought the counsel of experts and paranormal investigators, but the demon remains elusive, its intentions unknown. It seems bound to me, an indelible mark on my soul. The persistent demonic presence is a burden I bear, a constant reminder that some forces cannot be vanquished easily. I endure, hoping that one day I will find a way to break free from the darkness that has haunted me since childhood. Until then, I remain vigilant, knowing that the malevolent entity is never far away, waiting for an opportunity to prey upon my vulnerability. It was a stormy night when my friends and I gathered around an old Ouija board, seeking a thrill that only the supernatural could provide. The dim candlelight flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls as we placed our hands on the planchette. Nervous laughter filled the air as we began to ask questions, half expecting nothing but a harmless game. But as the planchette moved, our laughter faded, replaced by a sense of unease. The answers it spelled out were too accurate to be coincidences. We were in the presence of something beyond our understanding, and fear began to creep into our hearts. With trembling hands, I asked if the entity communicating with us meant us harm. The planchette's response was swift and chilling, "Why yes." As unease settled in, we decided to end the session, but it was already too late. That night, as I lay in bed, a heaviness enveloped me, and an oppressive darkness loomed in the corners of my room. Suddenly, I felt paralyzed, unable to move or speak. Sleep paralysis had gripped me like a vice. Panic surged through my veins as I sensed a malevolent presence lingering nearby. From the shadows emerged a figure, a dark silhouette with glowing eyes, hovering over my paralyzed body. It was the very entity we had unwittingly summoned with the Ouija board. I tried to scream, to break free from the sleep paralysis, but my voice was silenced, and my body remained motionless. The demonic entity seemed to feed off my terror, relishing in its ability to torment me in my vulnerable state. As the sleep paralysis finally released its hold on me, the figure vanished, leaving behind a chilling sensation that refused to dissipate. I knew that the malevolent entity had not left. It had found a way into my life, its influence seeping into my thoughts and dreams. Night after night, the sleep paralysis returned, accompanied by horrifying visions of the dark figure. I became a prisoner in my own mind, fearing the moment I closed my eyes, knowing the demon awaited me in the realm of dreams. Desperate for respite, I sought help from experts in the occult. But the demon seemed to mock our feeble attempts to banish it. It had found a home within my subconscious, a relentless presence that fed on my fear and vulnerability. I now live in a perpetual state of dread, haunted both in my waking hours and in the realm of dreams. The Ouija board had unwittingly opened a gateway for malevolence, forever binding me to a nightmarish existence of sleep paralysis and demonic torment. The price for seeking thrills in the supernatural had been far too high. And I now long for the day when I can break free from this unholy grip and find solace once more. Raised in a devout Islamic household, my belief in Allah and the teachings of Islam ran deep. But doubts lingered about the existence of evil forces, like Satan, as mere metaphors. One night, during a solitary prayer, an overwhelming darkness enveloped me. Trembling, I whispered Quranic verses, seeking divine protection. In the shadows, a menacing figure materialized, Satan himself. Fear and disbelief warred within me. The demonic presence mocked my faith, taunting my resolve. But I clung to my beliefs. Reciting Surah Al-Falaq and Surah An-Nas, the protective verses of the Quran. With each verse, the figure writhed in agony. The room filled with a divine light, banishing the malevolent presence. I had witnessed the reality of Satan, a testament to the power of Islam. From that night on, my faith deepened, knowing that Allah's guidance shielded me from evil. My prayers became a source of solace and strength, a connection to the divine that could repel even the most malevolent forces. I embraced Islam wholeheartedly, secure in the knowledge that my beliefs could safeguard me in the face of darkness. In the stillness of the night, I was plagued by recurring night terrors, a sinister manifestation of an otherworldly presence that tormented me while I slept. Each night, I would find myself trapped in a realm of darkness, unable to escape the clutches of the malevolent force that lurked in the shadows. In these night terrors, I would witness nightmarish visions, horrors beyond comprehension that twisted my mind and soul. Demonic entities danced in the corners of my vision, their eyes ablaze with an unholy fire. And chilling whispers filled my ears, promising eternal suffering. The night terrors seemed so real that I questioned my sanity. Was it all just a creation of my troubled mind, or was there truly a malevolent force preying on me in the darkness? As the line between dreams and reality blurred, I couldn't shake the feeling that something sinister was at play. I sought refuge in the daylight, but even then, the shadows seemed to taunt me, and an oppressive weight bore down on my chest. I was no longer safe anywhere. The night terrors had infiltrated every corner of my life. Desperate for answers, I turned to experts in the occult, hoping they could shed light on the source of my torment. Their faces grew grave as they examined the sinister aura that clung to me, confirming my darkest fears. A demonic entity had latched onto my soul, using my subconscious vulnerability to torment me night after night. In my quest for salvation, I underwent exorcisms and performed cleansing rituals, but the night terrors persisted. The demon seemed to revel in my desperation, feeding off my fear like a sinister parasite. As each night fell, I would brace myself for another harrowing journey into the realm of night terrors. The demonic presence taunted me, knowing there was no escape from its clutches. I was trapped in a perpetual cycle of horror, haunted by night terrors that threatened to consume me entirely. Now, as I write this, I remain a prisoner to the malevolent force that invades my dreams. I can only hope that one day, I will find the strength to break free from its grasp and banish the night terrors that plague my existence. Until then, I am left to battle the darkness that resides within me, a constant reminder that not all demons exist solely in the shadows of the night. I recount the harrowing tale of demonic possession that unfolded in the secluded village. As I ventured into the depths of the cave, my heart raced with excitement and trepidation. The legends of the cursed amulet filled my mind, but my thirst for adventure overshadowed any warnings. Ignoring the sense of impending doom, I reached for the glimmering amulet. From that moment on, my world turned upside down. Haunting visions invaded my mind, and an insidious force seemed to grip my very soul. Strange occurrences followed me everywhere, and I felt like a puppet controlled by an unseen malevolence. The village suffered, and its once thriving spirit withered away. Despair settled upon the people, and they looked at me with fear and suspicion. The demon within me reveled in their suffering, feeding on their misery. I tried to resist, to break free from the demon's grasp, but it was futile. The darkness consumed me, turning me into a vessel for unspeakable evil. I became a danger to those I once cared for, causing harm without any control over my actions. The village elders sought help from distant priests, desperate to exorcise the malevolent spirit that had possessed me. But the demon was relentless, resisting all attempts to be cast out. With each passing day, I felt myself slipping further into darkness, losing all sense of self. The demon's twisted desires became my own, and I became a monster, haunting the village like a specter of death. As the darkness overtook me completely, I could no longer remember who I once was. The demon had consumed my identity, leaving only a shell of the person I once knew. The villagers, in an act of desperation, decided that the only way to stop the havoc I wrought was to seal me away forever. They gathered around me, their eyes filled with sorrow and regret, as they cast a powerful binding spell to trap the demon within me. In that moment, my consciousness faded, and I became nothing more than a vessel, forever cursed to carry the malevolent force within. The village fell into an eerie silence, haunted by the remnants of the demon that once roamed free. The tale of my possession became a cautionary legend. A chilling reminder of the horrors that can arise when one succumbs to darkness. Growing up in a household of devout Christians, my parents' unwavering faith in God always intrigued me. But skepticism prevailed in my heart, until one fateful night. As I lay in bed, an eerie presence filled the room, a figure cloaked in darkness, the devil himself. Panic consumed me. And I whispered a desperate prayer, calling upon the God my parents believed in. In an instant, a warm light enveloped me, dispelling the malevolent entity. My parents' faith was no mere tale, it was a shield against evil. From that moment, I embraced their beliefs, knowing that God's love could protect me from even the darkest forces lurking in the shadows. I grew up with my grandma's unwavering belief in God, but I was always skeptical. One night, as I sat alone, a dark figure emerged from the shadows, the embodiment of Satan himself. Fear gripped me, but my grandma's teachings echoed in my mind. Summoning my courage, I whispered a prayer. To my surprise, a blinding light enveloped the room, and the demonic presence vanished. In that moment, I understood the power of faith. Grandma's belief in God wasn't just a tale, it was a shield against darkness. From then on, I embraced her faith, knowing it could protect me from even the most malevolent forces. As I stood before the imposing Amityville horror house, a shiver ran down my spine. Its dark, foreboding presence seemed to permeate the very air around it. Despite the warnings and tales of malevolent spirits, I couldn't resist the morbid curiosity that drew me closer to its haunted facade. The moment I stepped inside, a suffocating sense of dread engulfed me. The walls seemed to whisper with the echoes of long-forgotten tragedies, and the air was thick with an oppressive heaviness. But I pressed on, determined to uncover the truth behind the infamous legends that had plagued this house for decades. As I explored the decaying rooms, I felt an unseen presence watching my every move. Unexplainable chills coursed through me, and I could have sworn I heard faint whispers that sent shivers down my spine. It was as if the spirits of the past were unwilling to let go of their hold on this cursed dwelling. As night fell, the true horrors of the Amityville house revealed themselves. Shadows danced along the walls, and unexplained footsteps echoed through the empty hallways. The atmosphere was charged with a malevolence that made my skin crawl. I couldn't deny that something unnatural was at play. Objects moved on their own, and chilling apparitions appeared in the corners of my vision. The house was alive with a darkness that seemed to feed off my fear. In a desperate attempt to find answers, I delved into the house's history. What I discovered sent a shiver down my spine. The Amityville house had been the site of a brutal mass murder, and the evil that had soaked its walls that fateful night still lingered, hungry for more souls to claim. With each passing day, I felt the malevolent presence closing in on me, as if it wanted to consume my very essence. I knew I had to escape, but the house seemed to trap me within its nightmarish embrace. In a final act of defiance, I performed a cleansing ritual, calling upon the forces of light to banish the darkness that plagued this cursed dwelling. The air crackled with energy as I recited ancient incantations, and a blinding light filled the house. In that moment, I felt the oppressive weight lift from my shoulders, and the malevolence that had held the Amityville house in its grip for so long was vanquished. As I walked away from the haunted house, I knew that I had faced true evil and emerged unscathed. The Amityville horror house would forever remain etched in my memory, a chilling reminder that some places are best left undisturbed, for the darkness they harbor can consume even the bravest souls. Gathered with friends around the Ouija board, we sought to communicate with the unknown. Skepticism lingered, but curiosity prevailed. As we placed our hands on the planchette, it moved with an eerie force, spelling out cryptic messages. The room grew colder, and a shadowy presence seemed to envelop us. Fear tingled in my spine, but we continued, hoping for answers. Suddenly, the planchette shot to goodbye, and an unsettling feeling settled in. That night, sleep eluded me. Whispers echoed through the darkness, and a chill hung in the air. The Ouija board had awakened something sinister, and its malevolence lingered, haunting my every thought. Amidst a blood-red sky, the earth trembled as an infernal portal tore open. Flames licked at the edges, and a figure emerged from the depths of hell. Satan, with eyes ablaze and wings of darkness, stepped onto the mortal realm, his malevolence radiating like a searing blaze. His arrival signaled a nightmarish descent upon humanity. The world trembled as his unholy minions spread chaos, and despair consumed the hearts of the innocent. The battle between good and evil had begun, with the fate of the world hanging in the balance. And the Dark Lord himself leading the charge to unleash his wicked reign.